Hello.
Kane, how are you doing today?
Good. How are you, Dustin?
I am excellent. It's great to have you on.
Cool. Thank you. It's great to be on with you.
I'll introduce you to my co-host, Ton.
Hey there, how you doing?
Good morning. What's going on?
Oh, it's just a whole lot of snow, lots of shoveling, and now the pleasure of speaking with you.
Thank you. You guys got it worse than we did up here in Minneapolis, right?
Yeah, it was about 11 inches or so, I think I heard.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's not so good. But
I flew into this last night. It was horrible flying in here last night.
I bet. Wow. Well, if you're ready to go, we'll go ahead and get started.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, I guess one of the questions that we've got for you, I mean, I'm sure it's somewhat documented, but could you talk to us a bit about how you really got started in, I guess, wanting to become a professional wrestler and you know, how that story went?
Sure. I grew up in rural Missouri, and we didn't have cable TV, but if the wind blew right, we could watch All-Star Wrestling out of Kansas City on Saturday nights. And I started watching at a young age, and there were guys like Bulldog Bob Brown and Bruiser Bob Sweetan and Ray Candy and Harley Race occasionally. And I sort of got hooked. And once a month I would go down with my parents, of course, to visit my grandmother in St. Louis. And they had wrestling at the Chase. St. Louis was sort of the mecca of professional wrestling at the time. And there they had all the big names. You had like Ric Flair and the Von Erichs, and again Harley Race and Baron Von Raschke, and Vern Gagne would be there occasionally, and all these guys. So I was a fan from a young age. And then, of course, I played basketball and football through high school and college. And I was playing football, and like most college football players, wanted to play in the NFL, but I had a pretty bad knee injury, which prevented me from doing that. Well, I was like, I'm really big, pretty athletic from playing sports. And at the time, I'm watching Hulk Hogan. I remember going to an event at the Checker Dome in St. Louis, and Hulk Hogan comes out, and the roof just blows off the place. I'm like, that looks like a lot of fun. It looks like that could be a blast. And I think I have the physical ability to do that. And, I also was intrigued by, of course, the storylines and sort of the acting aspect of professional wrestling. And so I got in with a local group and learned some sort of rudimentary stuff. And it's just like everything else, you meet certain people and they introduce you to other people, you just network. And I went to Puerto Rico for about 9 months and went back and forth to Japan and spent a little time in Germany. And when I was in Puerto Rico, I met Dutch Mantell, who is now who is Zeb Coulter in WWE. And Dutch got me a job with Jim Cornette for Smoky Mountain Wrestling. And Jim Ross, of course, the legendary commentator, was on hiatus from WWE, and he was working for Cornette as his color guy, as his announcer. Anyway, but Jim Ross was on his way back into WWE and got me a tryout with WWE. And this was, I think, in like Gainesville, Georgia or something like that. And, from there, everything sort of fell into place, and that was 1995, and I've been here ever since.
Yeah, we know that when you first were brought up to the WWE, they kind of saddled you with some gimmicks that maybe would have been discouraging for some, but eventually
they were discouraging for me, trust me.
Yeah, so then when you were introduced with that Kane character, you must have been pretty stoked about that.
Yeah, I really was. I mean, I have a chance, to be in there with the Undertaker. And also, I think the Kane Undertaker story was one of the best stories that WWE's ever done, if not the best story as far as just pure storytelling. I mean, Paul Bearer was talking about Kane for months before you ever saw him. And what was really awesome about it was the backstory was already told by the time that I was introduced and debuted at Bad Blood in 1997. And it was just amazing because, it was done in such a way where Paul Bearer's talking about Kane, he makes a big deal about it. Undertaker's wondering what's going on. Really well done. And then you forget about it for a few weeks. And then all of a sudden, bam, there's Kane, and you got Vince McMahon. That's got to be Kane. That's got to be Kane as I come out. So, yeah, it was really awesome.
Well, then, as you mentioned, obviously being Undertaker's, on-screen brother. You guys have kind of been intertwined throughout your careers. Can you kind of describe what your relationship is like with him? I mean, was the chemistry always good from the start? Or?
Yeah, the chemistry always was good for the start. Everything you hear about Undertaker as far as a performer and, a presence backstage is absolutely true. The guy works really hard. The guy helps other people, and that's what it's really all about, is helping someone else so that you have a viable opponent. And he understands that more than probably anyone else does, and is willing to go the extra mile to do that. So we have a lot of chemistry, both on screen and off screen. I have a lot of respect for him, and frankly, without Undertaker, there never would have been a Kane. And Kane's been very good to me, so I owe him a lot.
Do you have any other guys you'd want to call out, like that, just favorites for you to work with?
Oh man, there's so many, because I've been here for so long. But all the guys. I mean, Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, Triple H, Shawn Michaels. I actually have only had a few matches with Shawn Michaels, and he'd be one of those guys that, I would have liked to have done more stuff with. But, nowadays you got John Cena, Randy Orton, always had great matches with Chris Jericho, Edge, Mick Foley, just so many people. And, Daniel Bryan. So there's so many guys that I've been fortunate enough to work with.
Well, when you're listing off those people, you're one of the few guys who's been with the WWE throughout a lot of the major changes. You were there in the mid-'90s and through the Attitude Era up till now. What are your thoughts kind of on how the business has evolved and kind of turned into more of the big business that it has?
It has evolved, and it's changed a lot. When I came on board in 95, the business was sort of at a low, and Austin hadn't quite taken off yet. He was on the launch pad, but he hadn't quite taken off yet. And things weren't really great. And then, you had the Monday Night Wars, and that changed everything. Because when people look back at that, they don't realize that we were fighting for our survival. From the aspect of fans watching it, it was, of course, a great period. But for us, there's a little pressure.
Right.
if we didn't perform, our company may not survive. I mean, that was seriously where it was at. I mean, you're going up against Ted Turner, who's got all the money in the world, and trying to compete with that. But what it did was it made us really upgrade our product and made us think differently about how we did television. And because of that, you have the format that we have now with Raw and SmackDown, and it's completely different than it was previous to the Monday Night Wars. And, of course, with the Attitude Era, that really changed everything as far as pushing the envelope and, becoming very edgy. And at that time, I really think we were the hottest thing in entertainment, any entertainment. I mean,
Right.
For years, we sold out everywhere that we'd go. We would have just house shows, live events, be sold out, just bam. It was just incredible. And then, then we've had some ups and downs since then. But what the company's been able to do is the company used momentum from the Attitude Era and the Monday Night Wars to really grow as far as our infrastructure and as far as our penetration all around the globe, and to become a real global, entertainment juggernaut, and to start all these other revenue streams and all these other sort of offshoot businesses. Vince McMahon is a brilliant businessman. He really is. And now I think they're going to go to the next level. Monday night, of course, is the launch of the WWE Network. And I really think that is going to be bigger than the first WrestleMania. I think it's not only for WWE, but for the entertainment and television industry in general. It's going to change how people watch TV, and it's actually going to make many of, in the television medium are going to have to think about changing how they do TV. So it really is going to be revolutionary, I think.
Yeah, we're definitely looking forward to that for sure. Can we get back a little bit to your career as far as, the character of Kane? You've been able to evolve it over the years. You've been obviously the monster heel and also been the baby face. And, you mentioned working with Daniel Bryan, more of kind of comedic roles. Is there one that you prefer? Because I know you mentioned you appreciate the acting aspect of the business.
I like what I'm doing now, because it's something different. I really like the interaction with Daniel Bryan as well, because it's something different. And, for so long I've been sort of locked into the role of the stoic one monster. And, to be able to break out of that and do different things, that's a lot of fun for me. As a performer, that's what we really strive for is when you get to the point to where, you've done something for so long and you feel like you can do it in your sleep and you're not being challenged anymore, that becomes a little boring at some point, right?
Sure.
And so to be able to do other stuff and to be able to stretch yourself and, show that you can do some different things, which I've had the opportunity to do, that's what I really like, especially at this point in my career, because I have done a lot of stuff.
So with that being said, do you think there's going to be another in-ring run for you, or are you kind of getting to the end of maybe the more active side of things?
No, man, I'm probably in the best shape of my life, actually, right now. And I can still go, and I can still go with anybody. So I'll be back in there sooner or later.
Excellent. Well, we also know you had a pretty successful movie with See No Evil, and we've heard you're doing another one soon. Is that something you might branch out into in your wrestling career, or if it winds up?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. It's a lot of fun. Doing movies is fun to do. It's different than what we do in WWE. Incidentally, See No Evil 2 will be released in October. I think we just wrapped up we just finished filming that in the fall. But, the thing about movies is I gain a lot of respect for actors when I've done some acting in some movies, because you're on a sound stage and everything is very antiseptic. It's a very artificial environment. And for those guys to be able to bring out and emote the emotions that they do is really incredible because of the environment that they're working in. Whereas WWE, there's a lot of energy, there's a lot of excitement, there's a lot of adrenaline. We interact with the crowd. We do things basically one take. We do it live, and we have that instant gratification of knowing, because of what our audience does, whether they like it or they don't like it, as long as you're getting a reaction, you're doing something right. So the quality of your work right then. And sometimes you can also alter it. If you're not doing something and you want to get a different reaction, you can go that way.
Sure.
On the other hand, with a movie, you shoot it, and there's so many. WWE, of course, is a team effort. There's a lot of elements involved with it. But in the movie, it's that same way, perhaps even more so, because it's all up to the director and the producers and all these different people what the finished product looks like, and you don't see that until months afterwards. So there's, you're just sitting there going, I hope this is going to be good, and you keep on getting reassured that it is going to be good, but you don't know until you actually see it.
Yeah.
So they're two completely different animals, and WWE, to tell you the truth, WWE and performing in front of a live audience is a lot more fun than the movies are.
Well, speaking of that, what can we expect from the Elimination Chamber in Minneapolis here?
The Elimination Chamber pay-per-view is very important because it's the last stop on the road to WrestleMania. It really sort of launches WrestleMania. You have the Royal Rumble, which kicks it off, and then we move to the Elimination Chamber, which solidifies everything. The Elimination Chamber match is very unique. We, of course, only do it once a year. It's sort of like a steel cage match crossed with Thunderdome. It's this gigantic structure. It's built out of chains. And you look at it, like I remember the first time I was in it, and I was in the first Elimination Chamber match. And, it's like, oh, this isn't, you think these chains are going to have some gift. They don't. All the chains are welded together. And then the floor of the thing is metal grating. And it's the most unforgiving structure imaginable.
Wow.
And then what happens is you have two superstars start the match, and you have the other four guys locked in pods. And then every 5 minutes, one of the pods opens randomly. So there's all sorts of dynamics involved in that. You could have, say a guy eliminates the dude that he's in there with by pinfall or submission, and you could have one guy in the ring waiting for everybody else to come out. Or you could end up with all six guys in the ring at one time. And then alliances will be formed, and sometimes alliances will be broken. For example, last year, Daniel Bryan and I are tag team champions, and then we end up in the ring at the same time during the Elimination Chamber, so then we're fighting against each other because we're going for the World Championship. So all sorts of stuff can happen. And again, it's a championship match, so it could change the dynamic of WrestleMania because, right now you're looking at Randy Orton going into WrestleMania as champion, but he may not be after the Elimination Chamber match.
Yeah, we are definitely excited for sure to be at the Target Center tomorrow night.
Yeah, it should be a great time. Tickets start at $25. So it's a great value. And, as I've been doing some media this morning, and, everybody's been talking about the history of wrestling here in Minnesota, which is great, and you have the AWA and Vern Gagne and my buddy Jesse Ventura and Kurt Hennig and all these different guys. So we have a very educated audience here in Minneapolis, and it should be a rocking house at the Target Center.
Yeah, it should be a great time. We're looking forward to it. One last question, Kane. You just mentioned sort of the history. Is there any wrestler of the past that you did not get to wrestle that you would love to?
Andre the Giant.
Wow.
Beautiful answer. Instantly.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is right now, we have Big Show, and I think Big Show is the greatest big man ever because he can do stuff. It's phenomenal. If you ever see the guy in real life, he's huge. And a tremendous athlete. People say he's a great athlete for his size. No, he's just a tremendous athlete. The thing about it though is Andre was even bigger. So I can't imagine what it would have been to be like in the ring with Andre the Giant, but I certainly would have enjoyed the challenge.
Beautiful.
Excellent.
Well, thanks a lot for coming on, Kane.
Great, guys. Thank you guys so much. You guys have a good day.
All right, you too. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.